State of the Arts talk show. We're here with Dustin Purdy, yo-yo master, also very talented inline skater. We produced a project a couple years ago where he was rollerblading around the Russell Industrial Center and doing pretty incredible tricks with his yo-yo. And here we have him to talk about how he got started with his yo-yoing and where he's going with it.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. I think, we've known each other for many years, and you have just incredible skill with your yo-yo. And I've never seen anyone else who can do those crazy moves like spinning it up in the air. And I just thought yo-yos were about like putting them to sleep and seeing how long you could keep it there. But I mean, there's a whole art to it, just the shapes you can make. And
yeah, it's eye-opening once you figure out what you can do with it, definitely.
And then even more so, like all the different yo-yos, there's different materials. Like this one's what, titanium?
This one's titanium right here with rubber rings. And then you can put different caps in there. This is like kind of a niche high-end yo-yo. Round spinning objects. Guy's a magician. And then this is like a aluminum yo-yo with stainless steel rims. So the rims give it more weighted, make it more like stable, performance orientated.
What would you say the closest sport is like to yo-yoing?
Closest sport to yo-yoing? That's a tough question. I don't know. There's kendama.
That makes sense.
A sport. A lot of people say yo-yo was created by ninjas as a self-defense thing.
I actually saw you almost hit someone in the face.
Yeah, I've 2 or 3 times I've hit myself, got some blood, but nothing too bad.
And then what did you tell your coworkers? That like it was domestic or fell down the stairs again?
Yeah, I hit myself with a yo-yo and they just looked back down like, okay, yeah.
I'm going to use that next time Monique hits me. It's just a yo-yo. I'm fine. So 2 or 3 years ago, we were at the Russell Industrial Center, and you came in with your glow lights, and you were doing some moves that you'd practiced for a long time. They lasted like 30 seconds, right? And you said you practiced those for a long time to get them flawlessly. Could you tell me about your process learning those moves, those sequences, right?
Yeah, like yo-yo tricks, you learn the basics, you learn, the different mounts and stuff, and then you learn some tricks. And there's different elements that you learn, and then those different elements you'll string them into a longer trick. So doing that, you learn all these different elements, and you learn other people's tricks, and it becomes like a book. So you can take a little piece out of your book, whether it's planned or it's improv. You may or may not know where to go, and that's how you build your own tricks. So the tricks that we did, we filmed with the different angles when it was just me yo-yoing. Those from start to finish were very thought out. I wanted to hit every piece, every part of that was how I wanted it. Whereas when we run around skating in the Russell, it was yo-yo and rollerblading, and that was completely like 100% improv. And what's funny is it's about equal in the video, the skating and yo-yo versus the yo-yo. But I think it took us like 2 or 3 hours in a day to hit all those tricks where I wanted to do exactly what I wanted to do. But the improv part where it was just, I showed up with no script. I was just like, okay, I'm going to skate around this place and play with, see what I can do with the yo-yo on skates. And that took us, we got that done in an hour. And we had just so much footage, and all that stuff just came right out of me. So I'm glad I did both, but that was a learning experience to see. The plan thing was very difficult to do. I had nerves in front of my friends, which was weird. Whereas, but then the let loose thing that we did on the blades was just flowed, which I thought was awesome.
That reminds me of a lot of other sports where when you're trying to get better, you're trying something new to push your own limits. It's really hard. You make a lot of mistakes, and it's frustrating, but also the most gratifying when you land it or you complete your task. But then like you are skilled and you can do things that are very impressive without even really putting too much thought into it. It's really just comes right out of you, like you said. So if you think about like the Olympics, when people have to do their run, do their performance for a minute, they land it most of the time because they've practiced it, and it's, it kind of flows out of them, I think, in a way. But while they were learning that, they probably struggled a lot. So filming someone who's going through that struggle, I'm pretty used to it, filming skaters trying to do their absolute best trick all the time. It's a very patient process, but going around and just like doing your thing and having fun with it. I mean, that's why you do it. You want to have fun with it, I think. Do you have a specific goal for your talents in yo-yoing?
A goal? I've surpassed all goals that I ever had initially had, or how good I thought I would ever be.
So you practiced your moves. Did you want to do a performance, another performance?
Yeah, I'm getting through some health problems right now, but once those are behind me, I do want to put together like an actual performance, something I can present to people. I think that's kind of my next step with all this.
Live or recorded on camera?
Both.
And then you've
I
done this
did.
live.
I've done one. I did one because the Detroit Fly House. It's like an aerial circus type school place in Eastern Market. I did aerial there, and then I picked up yo-yo at around the same time, and I did an actual like a 3-minute yo-yo and trapeze routine in front of like a couple hundred people, 100 or 200 people. But it was probably the most nervous I've ever been, functioning on pure adrenaline. So I'd like to do something like that, maybe there and somewhere else, but I would like it to be, maybe strictly yo-yo this time. I feel like I have enough. I've learned enough in my learnings of yo-yo to put together a complete performance.
How'd you feel after your performance?
Drained.
Did you feel good?
Yeah, you can call. I was weird, man. I don't even know what to call that.
Did you get a lot of compliments?
Yeah, I was surprised at how well it was received.
That feels good.
Right.
When you put yourself out there, and people appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah. Another point I want to touch on, like with yo-yo, to like learning all the tricks and stuff, to get to the point where you can kind of improv and flow tricks into another is, I think that was a hurdle in learning yo-yo. Is like, because like I said, you learn the tricks, the mounts. That takes months up to a year to learn the mounts and a couple nice tricks, and you're like, oh, these guys are just ripping these out. Like their knowledge bank must be so big. And then so when I actually was able to kind of lose myself and do that type of stuff, it was very rewarding, self-rewarding.
Yeah, actually, I can relate to that in skating. It took a while just to know that I'm not going to fall if I'm just chilling and doing a safety trick. So what would you say to someone who maybe they're already doing kendama, or they're doing something similar, or maybe they're just interested in trying a new sport like this? How could they get started? Like, when they get their yo-yo, what tricks should they try first and feel comfortable?
There's like looping yo-yos, which is the ones that go down and come back. But the first thing you want to learn is a bind. So this is a unresponsive yo-yo. So what that means is when I throw the yo-yo down and I tug it, it doesn't come back. So you have to get it to come back. You have to do something called a bind. So to do that, you throw the yo-yo down, grab it about 3/4 of the way down, put the string in the front, pinch with your front hand, and pull up. Now I bind the yo-yo. So throwing to the front like this is called front style. You can do different tricks and whatnot. Also, what you would want to learn next is a side mount. So throwing to the side like this, and then throwing on this plane opens up a whole nother kind of world of tricks. And then from there you learn different mounts. So that's a mount. Here's another mount. There's a mount. So from all those mounts you can kind of do all these different tricks. And then also there's whip tricks. And then there's different ways to bind, like how you can bind over your hand like this. Oh, it's another one you can get. So those are all things you can do with a yo-yo.
Well, after seeing all your full sequences, your moves. Now I can kind of break down how you're thinking about those, the way you move forward or sideways, and then how you can be creative with like where it lands and then how it pops back up. So that was cool to hear the breakdown. So how'd you get started with yo-yo in the first place? You've only been doing that for like 4 years or something?
Yeah, it's been about 4 years. I'm 37 now. When I turned 30, I kind of went through this whole lifestyle change. I was just in a destructive relationship, smoked cigarettes, drank, overweight, that whole thing. And I just said, screw this. Started taking care of myself. I kind of approached everything from, what are things with the lifestyle change, you got to think, what are things I can live with? So you make small changes to your life that you can live with, that over time will build up to a greater, bigger change. Fast forward 3 to 4 years, from about 33, 34, I was trying to find new things to get into. And I was like, when I was a kid, there was, I liked yo-yo for a couple months. I'm like, I'll see what's going on in this little community. So I looked up on Instagram, found a plethora of people and yo-yos and companies, and it was just this whole niche little world. So I was like, cool. So, I picked up a yo-yo and I was watching all the tutorials. Also at the time, I was still trying to quit smoking. So one day I was sitting there, I had a cigarette in one hand, yo-yo in the other hand, and it's just like, I just kind of made the decision. It's like every time I smoke a cigarette, I could be teaching myself a yo-yo trick. So it's been about 4 years now, and I've had a yo-yo in my hand every single day, and I haven't smoked any cigarettes. So that's kind of the big thing with the yo-yo, that, it's really been a good change in my life. It's hard for me to put down, but I definitely got a lot of positives out of it.
Yeah, every time you come to one of our parties, like the Velodrome or an art show, like turning some heads, or if we go out to the club, yeah, it's cool. You bring the yo-yo, they got the black lights, it makes your yo-yoing look even cooler, and I think it's great. Like I always say this when I go out and people are just hanging out or going to the bar, like I'd rather be doing something, like something productive. So I bring my camera, and that's my art. I like to take pictures, especially in low light. It's more challenging. And then you can just pop the yo-yo out.
Yeah, I think that, that's who we are as a culture. I mean, smoke, we're addictive. We're humans. We're addictive. Caffeine, cigarettes, whatever it is. So it's addict yourself to something else, It's be aware of, these smaller things that you do, but approach them on like an overview level. So it's like, I just learned I bring the yo-yo everywhere. It's like I would be smoking cigarettes otherwise, and like, who the fuck is this guy with a yo-yo? But it's like, it's a lot better than smoking cigarettes.
Yeah, we condition ourselves. We are
conditioning. Yeah, yes,
exactly.
Mental conditioning is
we outsmart our own brains and our own bodies. But you have to. We are like two things. We can think deeply. We can also react based on how we're feeling in the moment. It's like ego versus whatever, id and all that psychology stuff.
Conditioning of the mind and the brain. And a lot of these ideas, like when I was going through the kind of the lifestyle changes, I came up with a lot of these things on my own. I mean, I certainly got a lot of help, but like you start to hear other people mention these things. You're like, wow, I did that too. I trained my brain also. So it's not necessarily like just you in your own little world. There is, everybody else is trying to shape themselves. And I think one of the things you learn there is like forever learning and forever growing. Don't ever, like I always say, you're either moving forward or you're moving backwards. If you think you're in a good place and you want to stay there, you're just lying to yourself. That can come off a little harsh. I mean, we definitely want to enjoy the moment that we're in, but you still, you got to put your head down and, move forward.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a great note to end it on. Thanks for coming out, Dustin. Looking forward to more of your performances and hanging out. Detroit local, look out for him. He'll be out hanging out, bringing his yo-yo, and then maybe he can teach you some moves. So if you're interested in yo-yos, there's a lot of information online and communities, great people, and people who can teach you. So thanks for tuning in today.